So apparently some of Disney's classic animated films aren't necessarily okay for children anymore. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Entrepreneur. Welcome to my media channel. Now, Disney Plus, we are more than a year into Disney Plus, and I have to say, overall, I've enjoyed the service. It doesn't give me nearly as much new content as other services out there, and I don't think that content is nearly as compelling. Look, I'm enjoying WandaVision and The Mandalorian's okay, but if I had to choose between Disney Plus and HBO Max, I'd choose HBO Max. If I had to choose between Disney Plus and Netflix, I'd pick Netflix. The biggest thing about Disney Plus, of course, is their animated classics, but they've been coming under fire recently. There's been some minor censorship in some of those movies. Movies like Song of the South and a lot of old Mickey Mouse shorts are not available on Disney Plus. But thankfully, when it comes to like their true classics, like a lot of the Walt Disney, the person era anime classics, the movies have largely been uncensored for the most part. They have warnings before the movie and in the description that they have outdated cultural references, and that seems to be the best way to do this going forward. But there's going to be another blockage for some of these vintage anime classics, and I'll show you why by showing you the Disney Plus website in kids mode. Now, this profile is what Disney Plus looks like in the children's mode. It's for my nephew Quinn, who is way too young to even use this thing. And as you can see, it looks very much like a typical children's version of a streaming service. Nothing but, Mickey Mouse and Friends, princesses, Disney Junior, and you have some animated class. Well, I don't know if that's a classic, but there's Oliver and Company, there's Winnie the Pooh. So let's look at some of the things that are here. Let's hear. We do Wreck-It Ralph. There's Wreck-It Ralph. All right. Awesome. Let's do, nice PG rated film. Tangled. There's a bunch of stuff from Tangled. Let's hear. Is Tron here? Tron does not appear to be here. Oh, wait. No, there's Tron Uprising. So there's a Tron there. What about Hunchback of Notre Dame? I'm curious about that one. Hunchback of Notre Dame. Darkest Disney movie ever. The one that is borderlines on PG-13, really, even though it's rated G. That's available for the kids viewing mode. By the way, there's Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. What about Soul? Soul's on the children's platform. All right. What about Peter Pan? Okay, Peter Pan Return to Neverland is on there, but not the original Peter Pan. Aristocats is not... well, okay, I actually... No, that didn't work. What else? 101 Dalmatians. Okay, 101 Dalmatians is there. I didn't know they put the 101 Dalmatians series there. I haven't watched that in a very, very long time. Okay, what about Dumbo? No results for Dumbo. Not even the animated or the live action. Now, some of you might be watching this and saying, well, that's awfully odd. Let's do one more just for kicks and giggles. Goofy movie. Okay, the Goofy movies are there. Well, there's a reason why some of those movies are not popping up. It's because Disney Plus is actually blocking these movies from in the children's mode for Disney Plus due to offensive stereotypes. This is from Tyla. And written by Gregory Robinson. And it says, streaming service Disney Plus has blocked children under 7 from watching several films with characters based on racist stereotypes. Now, I don't know if I necessarily agree with this sentence. You can probably figure out that this is a little bit of a social justice website, but we're going to use it anyway. Because I don't think Peter Pan himself is a racist stereotype, and clearly they had no issue with the sequel. So, Jungle Book. Is Jungle Book, on here? Well, Mowgli's Story and Jungle Book 2 is, but not the original. Sorry, just wanted to make sure. So anyway, Peter Pan, Dumbo, Swiss Family Robinsons, and the Aristocats have all been removed from the children's section, so they can only be watched with parental consent. In the past, Disney Plus has included warnings on several films due to offensive material. Peter Pan features the portrayal of a Native American tribe called Redskins, and they have that very terrible "What Makes a Red Man Red" sequence. Dumbo includes a scene with Jim Crow, who is portrayed as an offensive African American stereotype. He's also I always have to point this out. Like, yeah, it's an offensive stereotype. He's also one of the only good guys in the movies. I don't know what that says about Dumbo. The Aristocats features a Siamese cat with offensive stereotypical facial features and Asian accent. They also sing in stereotypical accent. On that note, do they have Lady and the Tramp here? No. Lady and the Tramp 2 they have, so okay, at least there's some consistency. Swiss Family Robinson contains yellowface and brownface pirates. According to The Hill, some disclaimers have been shown on classic titles too, warning, he probably should put parents there, that there is content some may find offensive. The disclaimer notes that films may contain outdated cultural depictions. We report in October that the first movie to be included in the disclaimer stating this program is presented as originally created. It may contain outdated cultural depictions were the Aristocats, Fantasia, and Lady and the Tramp, despite the fact that Fantasia is actually edited. They took out some black slaves from that Greek gods sequence. But the channel has now changed its warnings on films, including Peter Pan, The Jungle Book, and Dumbo 2, after members of the public accused Disney of trying to gloss over the true impact of racism embedded in its films. The new warning reads, this program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures. I am totally okay with them doing this, by the way. Look, I understand that you need to put a disclaimer in there. Heck, I'm even okay if Leonard Maltin comes in and does like an intro explaining why the movies are a product of their time, why these things are in there, that they were wrong then and they're wrong now, but we have learned so much from them. The article continues, some films, such as Song of the South, are also not available to stream on Disney Plus at all because of racism concerns. That one, I've got mixed feelings about that one. Maybe one day I'll do like my final thoughts on Song of the South. The film follows a young white boy going to live on his, well, okay, since that's really kind of irrelevant here. So here's the thing. Maybe this was inevitable at some point. Because here's the thing. Aristocats does have that Chinese cat, and, you know, like the stray cats are all, you know, it's a hippie. There's an Asian cat. There's, you know, big black cat. You know, it's like they're all stereotypes. Peter Pan has the natives. You know, these are all problematic things. And it kind of makes sense that, hey, if you feel that these movies warrant a warning, if you will, before the movie begins, that says, hey, this is not okay, there's some offensive content in here, it would make sense that on the children's mode of the Disney Plus website, that some of these things would not be accessible to children. If you believe that parents need to watch these movies with their kids, why would you make it so that the kids could watch it without their parents in the room? So this makes sense. And again, I will personally take things like this in favor of the movies either being edited and censored or simply not being on the service at all. But I have to say, if you want to keep these movies and you don't want them to go away, if I were you, I would go and I would buy the discs that are in the stores. Get as many of these Disney movies as possible, because we're basically one step closer from these movies not being part of the Disney Plus streaming service. I kind of am now wondering, how far off are we where they decide they just don't want to have this conversation anymore, and they either remove the crows from Dumbo, or they remove the Siamese cat song from Lady and the Tramp. What if, like, the edit is too great, and maybe, like, in the case of Dumbo, like, can you really make the movie work without the crows? Like, you'd probably have to, at the very least, reanimate them and put something else there, and that might be way too expensive to even consider. So what if, in that case, maybe Dumbo just goes away from Disney Plus? And who knows? Maybe at some point, and this might be what Disney has to do, and they might actually have to take certain movies that have outdated cultural references, and they might have to charge a little extra if you want to unlock those. Like, hey, it's not part of the regular subscription, that is part of a premium tier level. Like, if you are paying for this add-on, you are paying with the knowledge, knowing that you will be watching these movies unedited. They will have the stereotypes in there. If you do not want to see them yourself, and if you do not want your kids to see them, do not add this as an add-on to your Disney Plus subscription. But then at that point, you're paying extra per month to watch movies that will not be charging you while they sit on the DVD shelf. Here's the thing. I'm still very, very much impressed with how Disney has handled this whole situation. They've handled it as best they can. They have still, for the most part, not edited these movies. With the exception of Song of the South, there is no animated film or anything that just outright will never be made available on Disney+. Disney has done what they can to warn parents and babysitters and, in some cases, liberal arts college professors that these movies are old and they have outdated references. And you kind of just need to accept that if you're going to watch these. And if you can't accept that, then maybe you shouldn't be watching these movies. But we are getting one step closer to the movies either being censored, pulled, or being put under a pricing tier that you will have to pay extra for. So in my opinion, if you want to watch these movies uncut, if you want to preserve them uncut, buy the Blu-rays and the Ultra HDs that are out there. Keep them safe, and you can watch them pretty much whenever you want. In the meantime, I'm not canceling my Disney Plus subscription. It still has a lot of value. I'm actually looking forward to Diary of the Female President season 2. I believe that's just what that show's called. I'm looking forward to that, and the Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers live action movie. Yeah, why not? If it's free, it's free. But I would like to know, what do you all think about this? Do you think this was a good move on Disney's part to block it in the children's section on the Disney Plus app, or do you think this is a step too far? Are you concerned that eventually these movies will be taken off the platform and maybe even censored? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.